Let's be honest, running Google Ads campaigns for service-based businesses can be tricky, but when they are done right, they can be highly profitable and easy to scale and a great way to grow your service-based business. Now, the reason for why service-based campaigns can be tricky is because you do have some core challenges that you need to overcome. Specifically around if you've got a business-to-business product, what you need to do is you need to filter out those business-to-customer inquiries. Or if you've got a higher priced service, which is running in the same business niche as a lot of other providers who are running a lower priced service, you have to be really careful to make sure you're attracting the right type of leads for your service-based business. Because to complicate both of those issues is that with all of my experience I've seen, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, quite often your business to business customers, the ones that you want and need, are using the same search terms as people who are searching business to customer requirements. Or if you've got a higher price service and you're needing to target a specific segment of the market, you'll find that they're using pretty much the same search terms as people who are looking for cheaper services. So that becomes the problem of how do you go through and really separate the customers who are key for your service-based business. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take you through the process for how you get the best results in Google Ads for your service-based business. And it starts with my biggest recommendation, regardless of what business niche you're in. If you're a service-based business, you need to start with search campaigns. And regardless of how many times Google prompts you in the recommendations tab to start a Performance Max campaign, or if a Google rep rings you and says they need to start a Performance Max campaign, you need to stick to your guns and remain with search. Now, I'm not saying that service-based businesses should never use Performance Max, because in the right environment and under the right circumstances, Performance Max can be amazing for service-based businesses. But I would not consider using anything else apart from search for a service-based business until you are seeing at least 30 high quality conversions in your account every 30 days. So I don't just mean 30 inquiries, I mean 30 high quality conversions. And what you also need in your account is that you also need to be using enhanced conversions where you're uploading in completed conversions. So you're not just counting people who are filling out your forms. You need to be uploading back into Google Ads the data of people who are actually converting. And that gap may be 2, 4, or 5 or 6 weeks down the track. So that's a really complicated topic that we are going to be covering later on in this channel. And if you want to make sure that you always stay up to date with all the new trainings that I do release right here, make sure that you don't only subscribe, but you also turn on that notification bell, because getting conversion data right is going to be the biggest game changer and the real catalyst of whether your account is going to be successful or just wasting money in the weeks and months to come in Google Ads. So the first thing is that make sure that you start with search. Now, once you've started your search campaign, the next important thing that you need to do is that you need to focus all of your efforts when you start that campaign, and sometimes even for the first 3 months, you're focusing on really refining the search terms that are triggering your ads. And what I really want to clarify here is I'm not talking about the keywords that you're targeting. I'm talking about the search terms that the users are using that are triggering your ads. And what you want to do from here is you want to go through and add in new negative keywords so that you're filtering out those searches. Now, this is so important that after I'd set up a Google Ads campaign, if I was only allowed to do one type of optimization action, I would choose reviewing my search terms over any other type of optimization action. I'm not saying that all of those other optimization actions are not important. That's crazy, they definitely are. What I'm saying though is that especially for a new campaign over that first 3 to 6 months, this is where you're going to see the most benefit in your optimizations, by going through and reviewing your search terms. Now, this does take time, and sometimes for larger spending accounts, we've had to build negative keyword lists of over 1,000, but it is so worth it. So what I want to do right now is I want to take you through a quick screen share so I can show you how to complete this process correctly, because it's not just a matter of going to your search terms, you also want to add in some segments so that you can see some better data and make better decisions. Let's go to that screen share right now. So where you want to go through here is that when you're in a search campaign, what you want to do is you want to go into insights and reports, and then under insights and reports, you want to go to search terms. So what I really want to clarify here is we're not talking about keywords. We're talking about when you're in the campaign, you go to insights and reports and then go to your search terms. What I first want to show you here, you can see here, we've gone through and added in a whole heap of extra negative keywords. And what this has done, this has brought this cost per conversion. Now there were other optimizations, but this was the core catalyst that when it started, it was at 725, then 200, it bounced around for a bit. And now we've been seeing week on week of cost per conversions of under $100, which is the marker that this business needs. And you can see from here is that what we're able to do is that some of these keywords were really close together. So you can see here, we excluded gold investments because we're more focusing on things around cash for gold. And the way that we did this is that we went through and you can see here, these gold investments, even though it was providing conversions, when we went through and added in our segment function, so you go into segment and conversions, what we're able to see through here is that we tracked back these different conversion actions and saw that this was providing a low level of conversions. And that's why it's really, really important to have really specific conversion actions so that you know which ones are really providing value for your business. So that example that I gave there between the two very similar search terms, one was actually giving us a higher level of conversions, but because we'd added in different conversion actions, we were able to really hone down on which are the ones that were important for our client's business. So those first two steps is all about starting with search and then just focusing a lot of time on refining your search terms, adding in those negative keywords. And especially for a new campaign, I would be completing search term audits at least 3 times a week. So every 72 hours until you start to see the quality of your traffic and conversions increase to a level that is acceptable for you and your client or for your own business. And that now brings us to the third strategy that service-based businesses need to be implementing. And the third strategy that you need to be implementing as a service-based business is that you need to be super aggressive with your ad copy. And what I mean by that, and what we want to achieve here, is that we want to start the pre-closing part of the sale before they even get to your website. You need to remember that every time someone clicks on your ad, you're paying for that. So if they click on an ad and go to your website and then don't go through with an inquiry because that service is too expensive, or if they're looking for a business to customer service as opposed to a business to business, you're going to be paying for that wasted non-targeted traffic. So what you want to be doing here is that if you are only offering a service for other businesses, I would be very, very specific in my ad copy that you don't offer your services to the general population. It's only for small businesses or medium-sized businesses. Or if you're running a higher price product, I would actually put in the ad copy of what your starting packages are at, especially if that starting price is a lot higher than some other service providers. Yes, you will lose some traffic, but there's no point paying for traffic, which is targeting users which are never going to convert because your service is not what they require or is out of their budget. I want to give you a real life example here. Is that a couple of years ago, I was brought in on a project to help an IT company who only provides services for small and medium businesses to really drive down their acquisition costs. Now, when I started, their acquisition costs were over $100 from memory, around about that 107, 109 mark. And when I'd finished consulting on their account, we brought that down to be regularly below $50. And the way that we did this is we did 2 core things. Firstly, we went through that search term process that I spoke about in point number 2 and really started honing down. Now, we did find some little trends there that in this particular space was that business to business customers were more likely just to search keyword like IT service or IT support, whereas business to customers would more be doing a longer tail search. They would be searching for things like help with my IT or help with my printer, things around that mark. So that's where we started to really build out a much larger negative keyword list. But then the other thing that we did was we became super, super aggressive with the ad copy. Now, the previous team on this account had already added in some headlines around that they were IT for small businesses or IT for medium-sized businesses. But what we did is that we took it a step further, and in their call to actions, and we even pinned these into the headlines, we tested call to actions around for small businesses only. And another one that worked really well for us was call our small business support team now. And what that did is that just reinforced at another level that this was only for small businesses. So what you want to do here is you want to actually position it in a way that for the user, they don't want to click on your ad because they know they're going to be wasting not necessarily your time, but they're going to be wasting their own time because you don't offer what they are looking for. So that's another really cool way that you can reduce spend and also increase the quality of conversions that your service-based business is getting. Now, another great strategy that service-based businesses can use, and this is point number 4, is that you can use remarketing. Now, what I want to stress here is that I would not be starting a display marketing campaign right at the start. I generally wait a good 3 to 6 months. The reason for that is because what we want to do firstly is that we want to build up a list of people who have been to our website who haven't converted yet, and we want them to be recent. Now, as you may or may not be aware, that you need to have at least 1,000 people in your audience before you can target them for a display campaign. Because what we're going to do is once we've built out that list, we're then going to set up a targeted only display campaign. So we're only going to that website visitors list. We're not using any expansion options. We're not using the observation method. This is only going to people who have been on our website in the last 30 to 90 days. And then what we're also doing from there is that when we set up the display campaign, we're also removing all of the apps, and the placements that we're targeting are websites and also Gmail. And what we're doing there is we're using the same messaging that the person would have seen when they saw our search ad. And what this does is this reinforces that they've already seen our ad, and we just continue to target them until we get those conversions. Now, a couple of points that I want to add here is that the level of spend is only about 5 to 10% of what you're spending on your search campaigns. And also don't be surprised that, especially if you've got a list that is only in the couple of thousands, it can take a good 4 to 6 weeks until you even start to see some real level of impressions or clicks. What we found when we added these in is it was generally around about the 3-month mark that the business started to see a real benefit of having the display campaign in their Google Ads campaign strategy. Now, that's all I can go through today, but what I want to do is I want to let you know that if you want to see extended notes on this training, and I've got quite a lot of other points, including what bidding strategies to start with and when and if you should move over to a maximized conversion bidding strategy. And if you want to see all of that extra training for free, I want to give you access to an extended training that I ran inside of my paid community, which is called 10x Google Ads. Now, I may be biased, but I believe that this is the best paid Google Ads community that you can get. As at the time of recording, we've got over 400 members. I also include extended masterclasses like the one I'm about to give you access to, and also live group coaching calls each and every month. And if you want to access that extended training on how you can increase the performance of your campaigns for your service-based businesses, all you need to do is to follow that link in the description below. Once again, thank you for joining me. My name is Aaron Young and I'm from Define Digital Academy. I look forward to seeing you in that extended training on this subject of how to get more conversions for your service-based business. Or if you want to stay on YouTube and you want to make sure that you've got your search campaigns set up correctly, make sure you go through, watch this video right here. See you next time.